A longtime advisory of President Trump now facing charges that carry up to 5 years in prison.
All right, so the Justice Department is saying that a grand jury has indicted former FBI Director James Comey. The charges are alleged obstruction and allegedly false statement.
And the charges involve testimony that Comey gave to the Senate 5 years ago. ABC's Olivia Rubin joining us now to break some of this down for us. And Olivia, we understand, thanks for being here. We understand that the president demanded this prosecution and he got it. So what do we make of that?
He did demand it, and not only did he demand it, but it was public, right? We can go right now onto his Truth Social page and look at what he posted, and it was sort of a plea to his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, that is another ally of his, a longtime close personal friend, who said, we need to move now. He named Comey by name. He named another political enemy by name, Letitia James, the Attorney General right here in New York. And specifically, guys, what he said is it is ruining our credibility, right? This is something that he campaigned on, the idea of retribution against his political allies, because he himself, in his own Truth Social post, said he was investigated when he was out of office. He was indicted. He was charged. He went on trial, of course, right here in New York and was found guilty. So this is something he has long talked about. We mentioned the charges there. It's alleged that false statement, as you said, that relates back to testimony that he gave September 30th, 2020, so nearly 5 years ago to the day. That's also part of the story here, right? That has a 5-year limit.
Right.
Which is running
That's why
out.
we're here right now. Right.
They had to get those charges to the grand jury and indicted by Tuesday of next week. So they were coming in right under the wire. So as you said, yes, a very public call from the president to prosecute one of his allies. So that was right there up on the 5-year limit of statute limitations. But we are hearing from James Comey, right? He did post a video on his Instagram responding to these charges, specifically saying there, let's have a trial. Let's take a quick listen.
My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump. But we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either. My heart is broken for the Department of Justice, but I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent. So let's have a trial. Thank you.
All right, so the president then appoints his personal attorney to get this done. Every other prosecutor has looked at this, and certainly in that office. I don't know how many, I don't know what the number is, but they said they didn't have enough evidence to move forward, and there have even been recommendations sent not to move forward. So how and why, I guess?
Exactly. That's part of what's so remarkable about this story. It's not just the indictment, it's how we got to this indictment, right? So let's take a step back. There, just a few weeks ago, was a different U.S. attorney leading this office, and according to all of ABC's reporting, that U.S. attorney was ousted specifically because he would not move forward with prosecutions into the president's enemies because he was told that there was no evidence, right? We know that there was a dust-up, according to sources who have spoken to ABC, over the investigation into Letitia James, the president unhappy that that wasn't moving forward, and the president posting publicly on social media once again, I fired him. He did not quit. He wants people to know that this is him moving this investigation forward. So again, as the reporting says, that Attorney General Eric Siebert now no longer in place. Of course, the president putting in his own personal U.S. attorney. That is his former personal lawyer, guys. Lindsay Halligan had worked for him as his attorney when he was out of office. She has no prosecutorial experience. So she is the one that was put into this job. And according more to ABC's reporting, she was told on her very first day in office this week by the line prosecutors who worked on this case in a memo that the evidence just wasn't there. She disregarded this. Another really stunning fact there, went into the grand jury, according to sources who spoke to ABC, on her own. That's unusual. Usually it is a line prosecutor that goes in and presents this evidence. But no, they wouldn't do it, according to sources, because they had doubts about the case. So she went in herself, and she did, it's important to point out, get an indictment here. Right. She was able to go in, according to our sources, she presented 3 counts. They denied on 1, indicted on 2. And now here we are, that she was able to go in and convince this grand jury to provide the indictment.
So what does this mean what does this mean for his other foes? Because we know that the president has many. Tish James is one of them. how could this potentially impact
Here in
her?
New York, right?
Right, exactly. And we know that there is an active investigation going on into Attorney General Letitia James over allegations of mortgage fraud that she, of course, has very publicly denied and said isn't there. But once again, going back to the ABC reporting, according to those sources, Eric Siebert, who used to be the U.S. Attorney in Virginia, where this investigation is also playing out, also didn't have evidence after months of investigating Letitia James. We know that subpoenas have been flying, grand juries have been listening to this evidence for months, and still they have not been able to come up with anything. Although it's not clear that if they haven't been able to yet, it seems they are still chugging along with that investigation. They are also, of course, chugging along with an investigation into Bolton, who is another public foe of the president. But really what's so striking about Comey that I think is really important to drill down here is that this is a long-running foe of the president. This dates back nearly a decade. This was the president's first FBI director. He fired him in 2017. That's how far back this goes, and all guys over something that the president still talks about this day, which is what he calls the phony Russia investigation.
Can I add just one quickie, because I know we got to go. So I know we had to beat this date before you couldn't file the charges, but that doesn't mean you have to rush this thing to court now, or does it?
No, it seems like it is going to be a long process here. You heard in that video James Comey say, let's have a trial. There are so many steps to get to before a trial, right? He's going to be arraigned in a few weeks, where it's very likely, he said, I'm innocent. It's very likely he's going to enter a plea of not guilty. And just speaking with sources, it really seems like one of the first things we're going to see from James Comey is a motion to dismiss based on selective prosecution.
All right.
And that goes back to all of Trump's statements made in this case. Olivia, thank you for shedding some light on this, parsing some of the legalese that we are dealing with. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me.